Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, First Community Financial Bank, the community bank where you come first. You're watching Spotlight, and today I'm joined by Tricia Fragan and Katrina Card of Normal Moments. Welcome to the set, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. So we're going to start out a little bit with you, Tricia, and talk about Normal Moments.
We are very proud to be coming up on our 10th year of existence. We are a nonprofit based here in Naperville, and we provide supportive services for parents with critically ill or medically complex children. We do not discriminate by diagnosis. We do this by sending a combination of paid service providers and volunteers to do everyday tasks like cleaning the house and mowing the lawn, clearing the snow away, anything that we can do to give parents more quality time with their children when they need it most. Because what we've learned is that when children are scared or in pain, the only thing that they really want is more time with mom or dad. And so that is the ultimate gift that we are trying to give them, is the comfort of having mom and dad by their side with a little bit less stress than they might otherwise have.
That's a wonderful mission. It really is. And 10 years is a long time to have been doing it. That's awesome.
Yes, thrilled to be saying that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so interesting because we have so many services that support the children, but you're supporting the children in a very unique and interesting way. Yeah, providing that little extra time.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Katrina, how did you get involved?
I went to a disability fair. I have 4 children. 3 of them have cerebral palsy. They are triplets. They are 6 years old, and 1 is a quadriplegic, and basically he doesn't have the use of his body at all. He's very smart, he's verbal, he's funny, but he can't feed himself, he can't sit up. And then my girls, they don't walk really well, they fall a lot. So. And then my younger son is 5. So a lot of kids, short period of time.
Yes.
And I went to this disability fair and I saw their little booth, and I picked up a flyer and I read the description, and I thought about it, and it took me a while to contact them. And
Why? Tell me why.
it said medically complex. And my kids are pretty healthy,
Okay.
except for the diagnosis of cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So I didn't know that if I really qualified or if my children qualified, so I sent Tricia an email, and I said, I don't know if my family really fits what your organization is serving. I said, but this is my story, and I was wondering if you could help, because I'm becoming very overwhelmed in our life, being able to take care of my one son who is completely dependent, as well as serve my other children as well, and be a good mom and homemaker and everything else. And I also work as well. And she said, you're exactly the family we work with.
Oh.
So at first she set me up with somebody to come and clean my house, and then they found me a David.
Okay, now, what's a David? Tell me what a David is.
So the mixed blessing of our 10-year anniversary is that it also marks 10 years since I lost my daughter to cancer. While we were waiting for her to die, so to speak, we had a very bizarre conversation. It was about the blessings that came along with 2 years of basically living in hospitals and going through treatment. And the bottom line was that it came down to some very, very special people who were not the ones that we thought were going to step up for us. It wasn't the friends that I'd known forever or my family members. Those people were too emotionally connected and knew me too well, knew Melissa too well. It was a combination of too painful for them to go through it with us, and the simple fact that they wanted to help the way they thought we needed to be helped rather than the way we asked to be helped. And the number one main person who was there for us was a young man named David, who is actually on our board of directors. He's the vice president of the organization to this day. He started out as my daughter's music teacher. And when she got diagnosed, he stepped in to become our everything. And the exact line my daughter said during this conversation was, you know, Mom, everybody deserves a David. And while I could never do some of the amazing things my daughter was planning on doing with her life, this was something I could do. I could make sure that those families in a limited area that needed a David could have one. And that is how Normal Moments started, and why all of our volunteers are called David, honoring our David, who meant so much to us and means so much to this day.
Right. That's an amazing story.
He's an amazing individual.
Yes. And I think what you described there, I mean, the legacy that you're paying forward for your daughter and the gift that you're giving to other families is quite something. And I'm
It
sure
allows me to
she's-
put my feet on the floor every day knowing that I am honoring the person that she was.
That's
'Cause
wonderful.
I got to be mom to the coolest human on the planet for almost 17 years.
And you got to do that in part because of your David.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about your David, Katrina.
Well, at first, it was unusual to have somebody in the house to serve me.
Yes.
Because normally people are in my house to serve my children, therapists, social workers, people like that. So for somebody to come into my house and say, "What do you need?" It's very humbling to say, "I really need my toilets cleaned."
But that's really what you need.
But
Sometimes that's what you need.
It was, can you clean up the dishes so I can actually sit and feed my son? Instead of, doing 6 million things at once, I was actually able to play a card game with my children while she was able to clean up the dishes after dinner, or just having her come over and play games with my kids so I could take a moment to myself and shower.
Right,
Or
right.
do something like that where it was family focused. It was, how can she help me kind of be an extension of me
Right.
in the way that I needed at that very moment in that day. And she came once a week and spent about 3 hours with our family once a week and really got to know my children, and my children loved her, and her and I became friends, and we started talking about her planning her wedding. So she really became part of the family over the months that she was with us. And then she moved away and got married, and so, but we love her to death, and she was very special to us.
Yeah, well, as you're talking, I'm just thinking it's so, the way that you talked about that gift of being able to do what you need to do with the children and have those special times, because I think, as you pointed out, Tricia, that's what children want the
Yes.
most is time with parents.
It's
and
not
so,
even want, it's need.
Yes, I think that's probably very, very true. What would you say to others, Katrina, as far as getting involved with the organization?
I would say do it. I'm sorry that I waited for so long. I think I had the pamphlet for about 4 or 5 months before I actually contacted the organization. It was such a sigh of relief and a weight lifted off of my shoulders in order to have somebody come and just let me be a mom to my children. And I would say, don't look at the diagnosis, ask. The worst that can happen is they say we're not the right fit, but if you don't ask, you won't know.
You won't know. I think that's great. Anything you'd like to add to that, Tricia? I think that was awfully well said.
No, just the volunteer side of things. It's not a weekly obligation. If people have that kind of time, that's great. It's actually, we ask that volunteers visit their family at least once every other week. So it's not a hugely demanding volunteer situation.
Okay. And clearly, as we can see, every hour makes a difference.
It does.
It does. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing both of your stories.
Thank you for having
I
us.
wish you both the very best. And if you would like to learn more about Normal Moments and how they are supporting parents of medically complex children, please visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay with us. We'll be right back with more Spotlight.